Badass car. Wow. Wow. That's new.
Yeah.
I didn't know it did that.
For sure.
Whoa. She looks. What's happening, everybody? What's up, YouTube? I am back again with another video. I am not going to do any videos on the ZL11LE today. Today is going to be a little bit different. I got a little surprise for you. I'm going a little bit old school today, so just bear with me. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. But I got a little surprise for you today. We're gonna kind of veer off into the land of imports, and I'm gonna interview a friend of mine. Actually, it was the same person that did the work on my Hellcat. He did the actual clear bra. So stay tuned. We'll check back in once he arrives, and I'll catch up with you later. All right, brother.
How's it going, guys? Griffen Queen. I work for Charlotte Auto Spa.
This is the man that takes care of all of our cars.
I try.
I mean, he does yeoman's work on some of the stuff that I've seen that we tear our cars apart and he fixes it.
Yep, that's the goal.
So
right?
tell him Griffen Queen Charlotte Auto Spa is where?
That's in Fort Mill, South Carolina, otherwise
Okay.
known as Indian Land. It's kind of a double thing going on there. Great spot. I love the shop. Been working there for over 3 years now. We do use Ceramic Pro. Ironically, wore that today. But yeah, whatever you need, man, I got you.
Okay. Give him a phone number so that they can reach out to you if you need any work.
I don't even freaking know the phone number by heart. Let me Google it real quick.
That's how busy he is, by the way.
It's ridiculous.
It's just like the fact that I got you here is a miracle. Because I think we were supposed to do this, what, a week or two?
Last week? I was like puppy sitting last week.
Was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago? I don't know.
Maybe two before that.
I lost time. I lost track of time.
But if you guys want to hit us up, it's 803-306-0069. And we're also at CLT Auto Spa on Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
For sure.
So today we are reviewing a special car. And I say this is a special car because if you're my age, I am... How old am I now? 40, in my mid-40s. We'll just leave it there. We don't need to go any further. But if you're my age, you remember seeing these cars on the street. They were like a dime a dozen, but they were so cool. They had such a cool factor to them. And, you know, this one is special to you, for I know that for a fact.
Definitely.
So tell the people about this, a little bit about the background of this car. You know, why it's special to you, and then we can start to go into like what are the things you've done to it.
Absolutely. It's funny we talk about this now because I just found the original window sticker from '83 in it.
Really?
Week. Yeah, I'll grab it for you in a minute.
Wow.
This car was purchased by my grandfather in 1983, actually in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Wow.
It's been in our family ever since. My grandmother drove it. She absolutely hated it. So it went back to my grandfather, and he daily drove it for a very long time. Our whole family honestly comes from a lineage of Z's. Like my grandfather had a couple, my mom had two, and my mom's brother, my uncle, currently has two as well. So when my grandfather passed away, this was willed to me, and I was ecstatic because I wanted to buy it off him to begin with anyway. But he was like, no, I love that car, I daily drive it, you know, worry about it later. I was like, all right, whatever. Kept trying to buy it off of him. Eventually, he did pass away, and it was in the will, so that was pretty awesome.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really awesome of him to do that.
Big part of me, like, wanted to keep it stock, but with car culture, especially on the East Coast, how it is right now. It's kind of blowing up like crazy. It was so hard for me not to just go all in and make it my own.
Okay. So this is an 83.
Yeah, 83 280ZX.
Okay. Now, I was doing some research. I didn't just come here like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna videotape some guy in his car. It's like,
Yep.
The 83, there was a ZX, and then there was also a 280Z.
Yeah, so basically what happened was Datsun, I believe, made the 280Z from 1970. Oh my gosh, I think Ford around 78.
I think about 1970.
Was it 2 or 4?
1970.
1970?
Yeah,
okay.
so there's this one
In
was
other words, the 240 first.
right, the 240, then there was the 260.
Yes, 260 was like 2 years.
Right, and then the 280 was
Yep.
the last all the way up until 1983.
It was 78.
Or 79.
Because in 79 they released
Okay.
the 280ZX, which was basically the same thing as a 280Z, but they basically made it a luxury kind of boulevard cruiser car.
Right.
A lot of enthusiasts for Zs aren't too fond of these because during that time, all the enthusiasts really wanted a true race car,
Right.
as they do now, and this was kind of the opposite of that. I mean, it can still hold its own, no doubt, especially during its time. It had one of the fastest 0 to 60s of any Japanese car.
Okay.
But the suspension was a lot more comfortable. These bumpers came out a lot further, a lot more bulky. The interior seats were a lot more padded. They weren't as broad like your Recaros over there. But yeah.
So and from the outset, I guess it's going to be pretty obvious to the audience. You got it on air suspension, obviously. It's a little bit,
Yeah.
it's lower as you came in and you dropped it, but it looks great.
I mean, look at this. I had a car and air suspension. I never really knew which one I wanted to do it with, and as soon as I kind of got a hold of this one, I was sight unseen, man.
Wow. Look at the seats. You added new seats. You added the Sparko steering wheel. He's got a lot of creatures of comfort from the modern day car.
I actually had give them a shout out real quick. David Phillips at the Sound Shop, amazing shop for custom work in Charlotte. Did this awesome kind of I almost want to say infotainment center down here in the dash.
Okay.
Where he connected my airlift controller, my new head unit, and a custom bezel as well.
Nice.
All that's really nice, custom. I just love it because it flows so easily. A lot of air suspension. You can see the controller hanging out somewhere. It's in the cup holder. But when he offered me that, I had to go with it.
Yeah, it looks great. This car is just so iconic, and it's so interesting that we're doing this review now because we're on the eve of the release of the new Nissan Z, and
Yes, sir.
it's funny because every time I see a special on it, I send you a link. It's like, hey, look, they're doing a review. Every time I see it, I was like, look,
Yep,
because
you sure did.
the car is, for me, is just as iconic as it is for Griffen here. And because I remember in junior high school when they brought it back, it was in '89. They had the
300ZX.
the 300ZX,
Yeah.
and we were in classroom in junior high school or whatever, and we were passing the magazines around of that car, and everybody wanted it. Everybody, to a man and woman, wanted that car.
My dad had that car.
Your dad had that? Yeah, that's right. You told me.
Family Aziz,
The
man.
family Aziz. And that to me, actually, and not to take anything away from this beautiful car, that is actually my favorite Z.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. It really is.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the exact, full-on fact in that car. I really wish I could, but the headlights, I believe, it may sound stupid, are from a Lamborghini Diablo.
Really?
They actually vice versa. Lamborghini took those headlights from the ZX and put it in their Diablo.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell you,
Interesting
man.
little fact there.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned Lamborghini. Now, these cars were the answer to the common man who didn't want to or couldn't get a Porsche, right?
For sure. Actually, yeah, and with this thing debadged, you have no idea how many
What it-
times someone
right.
says, is that a Porsche?
Yeah, yeah. To the average person
Yeah.
who doesn't know anything about cars, they think that this is a Porsche.
Definitely.
But man, it just looks awesome. And the thing is, you don't see too many of them in this from this era in this good a shape.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are rusted out.
Yeah, and honestly, even this one has some surface rust. It's nothing too crazy, but the chassis weren't made the best way.
Right.
Plus, a lot of these cars came from Ohio and crap. This one actually, I believe, was shipped in on the West Coast. Last time I talked about it with my uncle.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's something to behold. I love them. I think they're fun cars. My first car that I ever bought was I told you this before, was an 89 RX-7. So I got a special place in my heart for the imports. I had a blast in that car. I was in college and I had it. I was just ripping and roaring. So I know what the feeling is when you drive this car.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, that's easy for you to say coming from a Hellcat. But
right.
Here's the thing, is like you get to a point, and it's not to take anything away from Mopar, but you get to a point where you just want to enjoy the ride and enjoy the car. And I feel like that's where we're heading as we're getting older now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
like even as just you and I grow as people because we met through Mopar.
Right.
When you think
Right.
about that, back in the day, I had my V6 Challenger, step into a Scat Pack.
Yep.
You had plenty of Mopar. I can't even remember.
I had the RTE, I had the Challenger, I went to the Charger 392, then I went back to the Challenger, then finally to the Hellcat. And I just got tired of it because when I went on, it started with the Tour Deluxe actually, and I just said, you know what, man, I just want to enjoy the drive now.
Yeah.
And that's why I ended up with this car, this beast over here, because I enjoy the drive. It's an engaging, and I'm sure this is as engaging as that. Yeah. It may not have the horsepower, but man, you got the T-top.
Every inch of the road, too.
Yeah.
It's just
ridiculous. Yeah.
The T-tops, yeah.
And you got a T-top.
That's an arrow back in the 80s right there.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's the only thing I wish I had. I wish I had a T-top because Camaros were known for T-tops.
Yeah. Yep.
Back in the day, so I wish I had a T-top, but I know this is a track car, so that they don't want to, add any weight to it, so they just kept it, plain.
You can always take a Sawzall to the roof, make a homemade target top. Weight reduction.
Don't tempt me. So, what's next for this car, man? You've done so much to this car already. It looks awesome. Do you think about maybe doing a new motor or something?
So yeah, I get that question a lot. I've done nearly everything aesthetically on this car that I can really do. Anymore, I just don't think it'll look as clean as it does personally.
Right.
I just wanted to keep it, fairly simple, but obviously add some aggressive skirts and bumpers and whatnot. But yeah, as far as next for it, be longer down the road because it's more of a bigger investment for sure, but I'd like to RB swap the car.
Okay.
Which are notably known in Nissan GTRs.
Right.
They're incredible motors. Again, they're bulletproof, just like the one that's in this one, the L28. But good boy, you get some crazy power out of them.
Yeah,
and that's gonna be awesome to see.
And then you also got to upgrade, of course, the suspension, the brakes, and all that good stuff too.
Yeah. What's really cool about this airlift suspension is it's made to handle a lot of freaking power. So the suspension, I think we're good on, but brakes, because I'm gonna kill myself if I don't get brakes. Yeah.
Trust me, I understand. Brakes are everything.
Right now, I think this thing has 130 or 40 horsepower.
145 was it?
Something like that. I think
the 2 point. Is it the 2.8?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so about 145, I think, 145-ish.
Yeah. So if I stepped up, brakes to handle 145 and step up into a 500 horsepower motor, everything's got to follow suit.
Yeah. But man, I'd love to see that. And this is the first in the series with this car. We're gonna when he does do that, we're going to have part 2, part 3 with this car, because again, this is an icon. This isn't just any import. And I'm trying to see if we can find a dealership that that's gonna have that Nissan Z on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'd like us to drive up there in this bad.
Sweet.
Get some photos of that and see if we can, park it side by side. I don't know if they'll be able to do that because I think it'll be in the showroom.
Yeah.
But if we could just go up there and just take a look at it, just
I'm so excited for those new cars, man.
Yeah.
I really, really am.
Yeah.
The fact that it comes standard manual, I feel like that's Nissan's like love letter to enthusiasts.
oh yeah, save the manuals.
Right, exactly.
Save the manuals.
Not enough manufacturers do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I think everyone was really taken aback by that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it for now. Like I said, this is more to be continued. There's more to come with this car, and I'm excited for Griffen. I'm excited for his family. I'm glad he kept it in the family. That's really special. It's a great story, you know. And I mean, when you think about it, this car is basically 3 generations.
Yeah, I know, it's absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
I believe every single member of my mom's family has driven this car at least once or twice.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. Like I said, to be continued. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. And Griffen, once again, Charlotte Auto Spa,
Yes, sir.
Fort Mill, Indian Land. I'm not gonna make you say the number again. Go back to the beginning of the video.
Right.
Go back to the beginning of the video.
What's the Instagram again?
And Instagram at
CLT Auto Spa.
at CLT Charlotte Auto Spa.
That's just CLT Auto
At
Spa.
CLT
Sure,
Auto
we're
Spa.
done with
Okay, great. Yeah, for all your needs, go to his Instagram, reach out to him. They answer really quick.
that. For sure.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Appreciate it, guys.
Take care.
Thanks. Love vlogs. Just trying to see
Wow.
what was left in here, man. And we found this. My mom was like,
17,024.
right?
That's inflation for your ass right there.
What do the new ones start at? 40 base?
40 base, but